going, everybody? So we've got a fun review today as we're talking the second and final season of Amazon's Carnival Row. It's feeling very deja vu because not too long ago I talked about the second and final season of Hunters. Both of them are Amazon shows. Each of them had pretty promising first seasons, and I was excited to see where we would go with the follow-up, not knowing at the time we would be waiting multiple years to get that second season, and when it does arrive, it's the final season. I don't know, it just feels very coincidental is all. Now, this is a review for the entire second season of Carnival Row. I have seen all 10 episodes. They're not all dropping at once, though, unfortunately. If you weren't aware, season 1 came out all at once. This season, season 2, is going to be in batches, so it's 2 episodes per week until the season ends. I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do weekly spoiler reviews like I do with other shows in the past. If that's something that interests you, make sure you share your thoughts down below in the comment section about that. There's definitely a ton to chew on within this 10-episode season, building upon the battle between human and fae, political intrigue, and a new murder mystery sprinkled within the narrative. So, a lot of plot threads are going on at the exact same time. Some of them are more compelling than others. All the while, we have to try and wrap up everything because it's now the final season. Similar to that first season, it does take quite a bit of time to find its focus story-wise, just due to the fact that oftentimes we're hopping between various different storylines each and every episode, some of which, like Agreus and Imogen's storyline, they are practically in a whole other location the entire show. All while Philo, Vignette, and all the other characters are dealing with complications within the row. Where the intrigue lies in season 2 of Carnival Row is seeing the tensions rise with the possibility of a war on the horizon between the humans and the fae, and that finally hitting its breaking point potentially, and all hell breaking loose with the political sphere also in disarray. I think the most compelling thing about season 2, though, is the character of Philo. Out of this entire cast, I think he has the most interesting perspective on everything going on around him. Over the course of the season, it truly highlights the struggle he has inside pertaining to everything transpiring around him. Seeing as he is both fae and human, there's this constant struggle within him towards his role and the ongoing action around him, and whether or not he's going to pick a side. Is he human or is he fae? Even if he necessarily doesn't fit perfectly the mold into either of those sides, as terrible things are happening around him over the course of the season. That and the murder mystery angle are the things I found most interesting about the show, and just the twists and turns we take with that decision, as all the while Vignette is also causing some other complications along the way. The dynamic between Vignette and Philo this season, for lack of a better term, it's kind of weird and frustrating. It almost feels like a complete 180 from where we left off with them at the tail end of season 1, the finale. It's been a long time since I've refreshed my memory with season 1, but I remember them being a bit more friendly towards one another and pretty much mending the relationship between the two of them, and now most of this season, they're pretty much on the opposite sides of everything going on. I would argue that Vignette kind of at times is one of the antagonists of the show. It's kind of a complicated situation that I can't delve into deeply because it will go into spoiler territory, but she joins this group called the Black Ravens, and then from then on out, they don't share very many scenes together, and when they do share scenes together, they're not particularly friendly. It's very odd to me that we had these two characters who are the leads selling the show pretty much, and they don't share a whole lot of scenes together. It almost feels like it was orchestrated that way, and when they do have scenes together, they don't have the greatest chemistry. To be completely honest, it was kind of a hard sell buying into the chemistry, the romance between Orlando Bloom and Cara Delevingne in the last season too. But so this season, I think if you're one of those people that were rooting for Philo and Vignette, there's going to be a lot of this season that you're going to be frustrated by. Predominantly because Vignette, just as a character all throughout season 2, is a pretty frustrating character. It's tough to beat around the bush, but there are some head-scratching decisions she makes over the course of all 10 episodes. With Imogen and Agreus' story continuing on from season 1, I honestly was kind of surprised that we were going to continue on with them. I thought we were going to have them have their happy moment, they were going to sail away, live happily ever after, and they decided to give them some pretty gut-wrenching material. Let's just say there's some pretty rough patches where they inevitably end up, but it is very much a mixed bag experience, since I did enjoy the character work, mainly when it involves Agreus and him confronting his past transgressions and why he has so much wealth accumulated now, and Imogen also comes into her own. But for the most part, I do think a lot of their story drags. A lot of it boils down to the usage of their story. I think it's incorporated oddly into the conflicts going on in the show, and it mainly just serves as an introduction to the New Dawn, since their plot usage mainly is just to introduce them as another big bad in the series, or I guess they're just presented as a new option to root for in this ongoing battle amongst all these different sides. You have them, you have the Black Ravens, you have the Pact. All of them, I would say, by the end are pretty terrible. Some of them are more radical than others, but they're not that interesting to follow. Several of my issues with this season are kind of similar to ones that I had in the very first season, and I think there's just too many subplots going on. I know a lot of fantasy shows are known for having various different characters and various different subplots, but I don't think it works as well in Carnival Row, at least when it comes to the writing and the balancing act. At any given point, especially in the first half of season 2, where there's maybe 5 or 6 plots bouncing around, some of them, like Jonah and Sophie's, doesn't really go anywhere. There absolutely are some things I find interesting about some of these plot threads, but I'm not sure how that's going to play out now that we're not going to have every single episode at launch. It's going to be 2 episodes a week, and I'm not entirely sure the show was designed for that, because a lot of these episodes end in a way where I don't necessarily need to rush to watch the next episode, and I don't know a whole lot of people that talk about Carnival Row week to week. Maybe that's their intent, but I don't know. I just think the story here might not necessarily fit that kind of water cooler kind of conversation. However, I'm happy to admit if I am wrong about the situation. It's just most of the people that I do know that watched the first season were kind of surprised when it was coming back all of a sudden after waiting like 3 years for a season 2. As someone that loves the fantasy genre, the world of Carnival Row is so fascinating to me, and the production design continues to be excellent, but tone-wise, it's just tough to juggle so many different things. Romance, action, political intrigue, murder mystery, when the focus gets muddled by trying to do too much. It's too ambitious for its own good, unfortunately. You can definitely tell they were trying their best to wrap everything up in a satisfactory fashion for the Carnival Row fans, but I don't think this was supposed to be the final season. It felt to me most of the season like we were just going to build more and more seasons on top of this, and then they decided to throw on an epilogue to try their best to tie up all of the loose ends. And I think just COVID got in the way, unfortunately. The pandemic caused this shoot to be very long and difficult, and since so many years had passed, similar to Hunters, they just gave them one final season to wrap everything up. All around, season 2 of Carnival Row is a very mixed bag for me. There are definitely moments where it fires on all cylinders with intrigue and compelling commentary in this unique fantasy landscape, but it lacks a clear focus throughout the show that doesn't assist differentiating itself from many other fantasy shows on at the moment. I am really excited to talk about this show with you guys in the comment section down below. The first 2 episodes are going to be airing on Amazon Prime this Friday, and then it's going to be 2 episodes weekly until the series ends. So make sure you share your thoughts down below once you get a chance to check out the series, and also let me know if you want me to do weekly spoiler recaps, reviews like I do with some other shows on the channel. But yeah, share all your thoughts down below in the comment section. Did you like Carnival Row Season 2? Did you not like Carnival Row Season 2? Share all your thoughts down below in the comment section. And thank you guys always for checking out the reviews. I always do appreciate it. Make sure you leave a like on the video and also subscribe to the channel so I always update reviews, reactions, unboxings, and more. Next time, see you guys later.